I think.
I was like, what's Indy?
Well, yeah, I think will I go and turn it off?
Go
no,
on,
I think we're all good. No, we're all good.
Yeah, we're all good, yeah.
They've
Freddie, how are you?
Good now, yeah, and yourself, sure.
The loss of Ian Henderson and Tadhg Furlong, all of a sudden that's quite a bit of experience and heft and world-class ability taken out of the pack.
Yeah, it is, and I think I'm quite nervous about this game. I think everybody's asking, will Ireland win? And there's a lot of talk about Grand Slams and going to Twickenham. It's very, very nerve-wracking, to be honest. I think Gatland will be rubbing his hands together thinking, and he always looks for some little bit of an edge, Warren, so I think he'll be saying to his players this week, well, everyone expects Ireland to win, they expect to win, they don't rate us.
We've been written off.
Yeah, and let's go and spoil the party. And when you have Furlong and Henderson, it looks like they're not going to be involved. Now, you'd never know with the setup this week. There could be a little dummy being thrown, but Joe Schmidt's policy is obviously if you don't train during the week, which is a good policy in some circumstances. But when you have two world-class guys like that, you certainly don't want to take a chance that if you started them and if the injuries kind of reoccurred or flared up again, that they'd come off, it disrupts the whole team.
Yeah, because this is the halfway point of the tournament, and you want to win the tournament. Like if we lose a Grand Slam but win the tournament, it's still a successful season.
Yeah, I think, look, this is a game that is always a tricky one. I think the rivalry between both sides and the results have been nip and tuck. Wales have been in Dublin a good few times and won. We've been to Cardiff, I think, and won a good few times. Historically, home results, home advantage doesn't really have a huge significance or a huge bearing on the game. So if we lost this, it'd be deflating because I think we've, if you go back to France, we kind of spluttered through that one, even though it was a great away win.
Yeah.
Italy, they were very poor. So this is a real test, and it's a step up in intensity and aggression levels and ferocity in this game. So I think Wales probably got more out of the first two games themselves, and they'll have learned a lot in Twickenham, so they'll fancy their chances. But part of me then thinks, this is the real deal. Now this is where our Six Nations really kicks off, and there's a pressure and expectation on the players to perform, and they have the ability, even without Furlong and Ian Henderson. If they weren't playing, I think we're still good enough to win and get a result.
What difference does it make not having Henderson in that second row?
Well, he's been settled there now for a while, and his level of performance has been very, very consistent, and he's really influential. He affects a lot of plays that go on in the game. His work rate is outstanding. He's a real presence. He's not a vocal guy, but his actions are just non-stop, and I think he affects so much that goes on, holding guys up in a maul, making tackles, making carries, hard yards when off slow ball and stuff like that. So, but someone like Devin Toner coming in, I think we're lucky to have him. He'd been outstanding for Ireland.
I think you're right talking about Toner coming in, because it definitely felt like Ryan was rested and he was always going to play. I think this was the first time we were really going to see Ryan and Henderson together, and that's why that's the most disappointing thing about this. It's like, here's your second row for the next 5, maybe 10 years if everything goes well for them, and we're just not seeing that in the biggest game of the tournament so far.
Yeah, and I think when you play against someone like Alan Wynne-Jones, I played against him many times. He's an outstanding line-out operator. He's a big presence. He's their leader, and they got us in the line-out a few times last year in Cardiff when we were. It was a very disjointed performance, and even at that we could have won it. They got a very late try from a mistake, and you think of Robbie Henshaw's clear out at the ruck where we scored. We could have won that game, and Alan Wynne-Jones, they stole a couple of lineouts last year. So I think Toner coming in, that gives me a bit of comfort regarding running the lineout, and maybe Henderson and Ryan would have been, a little bit inexperienced. So he brings a little bit of strength in that line-out situation. Devin Toner would have learned a lot from O'Connell over the years, and has ran the Leinster line-out really well. So yeah, I wouldn't be concerned about, look, Henderson and Ryan will be the future. There's no doubt about that. But I think Devin Toner coming in, he's a bit of a, he'll hopefully have a little bit of a chip in his shoulder to say, I'm not going away anywhere and I still want to play. So it's an intriguing battle throughout both sides. 9 Scarlets players starting. The last time they were in Dublin, they dismantle Munster and they'll fancy their chances again. And the week before, obviously, Leinster.
Yeah.
And that Pro 12 last year. So they'll certainly fancy their chances of playing with tempo and pace and trying to stretch Ireland all over the place.
Just a quick one on the second row there again. James Ryan obviously played at 5 against France. Does he shift over to 4 and let Toner come in at 5 now? And is there a big difference there for him?
Well, Toner, it doesn't matter really which number they wear. I think Toner will probably go to 5. He'll jump in the middle of the line out, Toner. I think James Ryan will go to the front. And that's something Simon Easterby will have had worked at during the week, is running that line out. Obviously O'Mahony's an outstanding line out forward as well, and it's such a crucial area. One line out can change a game. You're attacking 5 yards out. We lost one last year where Alan Wynne-Jones moved a little bit late, stole a line out when we were close to their line, so it is crucial. So I think Toner, will go to 5. It doesn't matter hugely from a scrummaging point of view. Maybe you probably want the bigger man behind your tight head on the right hand side of the scrum, particularly if Andrew Porter is going to start, which is likely to happen now. The
bigger man, bulk or height?
Probably weight. Toner's probably heavier than he's heavier than James Ryan. It's not really height, it's just that scrummaging ability, and that's why Quinn probably, Joe Schmidt has favoured him. There's talk about his strength in scrummaging and that little bit of bulk and physicality.
But it did seem odd, it seemed like Delan suffered a bereavement and so therefore wasn't part of the matchday squad, even though he'd been named in it. Quinn Roux comes in and you think, okay, well that means the pecking order is Delan's ahead of him, but it's actually the person who got the opportunity is ahead. That seems to be the case.
Probably. It just depends what way they've trained and stuff this week and how Ultan Delan is after his mum's passing, which was incredibly sad and tough for him to deal with. So it just depends where he's at. Quinn Roux brings that extra bit of grunt and physicality, maybe. But Delan is a better player around the field, there's no doubt about it, and he has this explosiveness off the bench.
Yeah. Roux obviously was a surprise selection in that South African tour, and they win that game, and so I suspect Joe Schmidt goes, I can depend on you in big matches where, he played the full game when Stander got sent off and won, didn't he? And we won that game, I'm pretty sure. We were at the Euros in France, so my memory's a bit hazy.
He started the second one, I think.
It was the second one.
In Johannesburg. But Joe Schmidt originally signed him for Leinster. So I think he sees that bit of physicality or a bit of grunt. And to be fair to him, he works hard. He's not going to let you down. But I think Delan is a better footballer around the field. And coming off the bench will add a bit of explosiveness. So it just depends on that one. But certainly, it is a concern having Henderson out, there's no doubt. You want your best players, and they have 3 guys back, and Halfpenny and Bigger and Liam Williams, 3 Lions players coming into their back line, which gives them experience and maybe a bit of attitude and takes away a little bit of fear from their whole performance and what they're going to try and do in Dublin.